But let's talk about touch points, because this is very important. So what we do is create a massive volume of content that we roll out on all social media channels plus emails for anybody that signs up. When you and I've heard this term, like 6 to 10 touch points before something happens. I'm not really sure what that is. And you're right.
Sure.
You're selling data. We're raising capital. So we're both right. We're not. Neither of us are selling widgets. It's a long sales process. But what are those 6 to 10? Tell me, what are those 6 to 10 touch points? What actually are they? And what is how do they figure into the I use the term investor journey, but the customer journey to getting to know you?
Yeah, I think regardless throughout and however those touch points kind of begin, you're ultimately trying to tell a story or craft a narrative around who you are as an organization, and maybe even more importantly, around who the personalities are within your organization. I think people are sort of the lifeline to these firms being great. I mean, part of the reason RCLCO is such a historic and sort of legacy type firm that has a great reputation is we've been around, yes, 50 plus years, but a lot of our senior leadership has been around for a significant amount of that time. And their opinions are valued. And that's also why a group like ourselves is so interesting, is the next generation of potential clients come in and their habits are slightly different. Those 6 to 10 touch points might look different as well. So I still think at the end of the day, in digital marketing and marketing in general is a huge piece of this, but nothing replaces the face-to-face conversation. And ultimately, whether it's via Zoom Info or Zoom Meeting, I should say, or whatever that may be, Zoom Info, another tool that we use as an example, we can talk later. But that is a face-to-face or a touch point interaction now. A lot of those first impressions, I'll say, happen online now. And as much as you'd love for them to be in person all the time, you have to recognize that your brand and these people have an online persona and reputation as well. And I know you've shared some things earlier about what I should think about, and that's one thing I think you can always take away is whatever lives online is going to be there forever, and you have to keep that in mind. So for us, it's about crafting that story across those 6 to 10 touch points, and we do in a way that is both sort of mass focused because we only have so much bandwidth. So that could be our general newsletter. It could be one of those 6, touch points a year, let's say. Here's what we've been working on. Here's something you might find interesting. Let us know if this sounds relevant and we can follow up. But it also can be far more customized. So we may have within, our larger database, and we do, a number of highly segmented and targeted database lists that then are provided specific sort of thought leadership or interesting research that we think would be most applicable to them. And that's sort of crafting that story that's a bit more unique to them directly. So the sports team owner who's building a new arena, but is hoping to put a large mixed-use development adjacent to that is going to get a potentially different marketing strategy in terms of the content than maybe the master plan developer who's seeking to build 15,000 houses on a couple thousand acres in the desert going forward. And our approach is going to be, first, we want to make sure you see what we can do in terms of our thought leadership. And so that exposure, things like webinars in particular, have been another interesting tool for us where not just an article, but folks can hear us talk about it and get deep into discussion. But really what we want to be able to do is customize our approach, our response, and our outreach to whatever it may be that's most interesting to that specific client. And I think that's something that maybe we do a little bit differently. In particular, I've always focused on more on the sales side maybe than marketing, but I think it's about listening more so than talking initially. And that first meeting or that first opportunity I have with somebody, I want to hear everything that's kind of their pain points or important to them or the things keeping them up at night. And then I'll come back with unique marketing collateral, a unique approach, a unique pitch, and how that all forms together from a strategy within our group that actually fits what they need. I mean, our firm offers so many services. If I tried to go in and, mass sell everything to everybody, I'd drown them in confusion. And so it's really about first listening and then setting up those 6 to 10 kind of follow-up points, a mix of both in-person, hopefully, phone, and then specifically heavily on digital marketing to kind of keep that relationship alive and keep yourself top of mind for when the time is ready.